Welcome to Worst Songs Ever, the podcast where we explore the baffling hits that top the charts, with one host picking a song they believe is a musical nightmare, and all of us dissecting its inexplicable popularity. Tune in, but beware. By the end, you might just question your own taste in music.
My goal, and I think our goal collectively, should be to not just be negative and to bash, but to celebrate at the same time. So today this is our second episode. Brennan chose this particular track. Do you want to unleash it upon us, Brennan? What song did you choose? And what can you tell us about it?
I didn't know the name of the song. I wasn't sure who sang it. It's 1 Week by Barenaked Ladies is the song that I've chosen.
Do you know anything about it? Did you do any research about this song?
I looked at why other people were angry about it. I did a little bit of quick research, but I feel like I have enough anger that I didn't really need other people's, but it was nice to see that other people kind of felt the same way.
There's a part of you in looking up other people's reaction to this that is delighting in the anger that you feel.
And no, I'm just upset in multiple ways.
I searched in YouTube 1 Week Barenaked Ladies, and the first video that popped up was the 10 most annoying songs ever made.
Yeah, I would call this pretty low-hanging fruit. You know, like I when you said 1 week, I was like, oh yeah, of course. It came out September of 1998. It was from the album called Stunt. And this particular genre is alternative rock mixed with rap rock. That's sort of how it's described. And this song, do either one of you want to guess how high this went on the Billboard Hot 100 chart?
I mean, it went to number 3 in Canada and number 1 on Billboard.
Went to number 1. It stayed at number 1 for 1 week. The essence of this music, this song, which we're going to listen to, is fast-paced, humorous lyrics, lots of pop culture references. Fun fact, the music video for this, which we're going to show also, is directed by Mick G. Do you guys know what Mick G directed? Which films he directed?
What did Mick G direct?
He directed Charlie's Angels and This Means War, starring Reese Witherspoon, Chris Pine, and Tom Hardy. You know, he's a music video director.
Oh, he directed the video, is what you're saying.
And he directed this music video, but he cut his teeth making music videos, and then he started directing films. So, should we give it a listen?
Yeah.
It's 1 Week by the Barenaked Ladies. Went to number 1 in 1998.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me, cocked your head to the side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me, saying get back together, come back and see me. 3 days since the living room, I realized it's all my fault but couldn't tell you. Yesterday you'd forgiven me, but it'll still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry.
Hold it now, I want to hoodwink. Does it make you stop think? You'll think you're looking at Aquaman. I summon fish to the dish, although I like the chalet Swiss. I like the sushi cause it's never touch a frying pan. Hot like wasabi when I bust rhymes. Big like Leanne rhymes because I'm all about value. Bert Camper's got the mad hits. You try to match wits, you try to hold me but I bust through. Gonna make a break and take a bake out like a stinking ache and shake out like vanilla. It's the finest of the flavors. Gonna see the show cause then you'll know the vertigo is gonna go cause it's so dangerous you'll have to sign a waiver. Can't I help it if I think you're funny when you're mad? Trying hard not to smile though I feel bad. I'm the kind of guy who laughs at a funeral. Can't understand what I mean, well you soon will. I have a tendency to wear my mind on my sleeve. I have a history of taking off my shirt.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me, threw your arms in the air and said you're crazy. 5 days since you tackled me, I still got the red burns on both my knees. It's been 3 days since the afternoon, you realize it's not my fault that I'm only too soon. Yesterday you'd forgiven me, and now I'll sit back and wait till you say you're sorry.
China, the Chinese chicken. You have a drumstick and your brain stops sticking. Watching X-Files with no lights on, with all our maisons. I hope the smoky man's in this one like Harrison Ford. I'm getting frantic, like Sting, I'm tantric, like Snickers guaranteed to satisfy. Like Kurosawa, I make mad films. Okay, I don't make films, but if I did, they'd have a samurai. Gonna get a set of better clubs, gonna find the kind with tiny enough just so my irons aren't always flying off the backswing. Gonna get into my Sailor Moon, cause the cartoonist got the boom anime babes to make me think the wrong thing. How can I help it if I think you're funny when you're mad? Trying hard not to smile, though I feel bad. I'm the kind of guy who laughs at a funeral. Can't understand what I mean, you soon will. I have a tendency to wear my mind on my sleeve. I have a history of losing my shirt.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me, dropped your arms to the sides and said I'm sorry. 5 days since I laughed at you and said you just did just what I thought you were gonna do. 3 days since the living room, we realized we're both to blame, but what could we do? Yesterday, you just smiled at me, cause it'll still be 2 days till we say we're sorry. It'll still be 2 days till we say we're sorry. It'll still be 2 days till we say we're sorry. Birchmount Stadium, home of the Robbie.
Are we done yet? Everybody
Yeah.
looks. Brennan, you look like you feel ashamed of yourself. Rob, you just look like, what the hell? Like,
It is like
Wow.
I'm literally feeling like what I'm feeling right now. Like I used to be embarrassed as a child when like Scooby-Doo, where they would have a band come on, and I would just be really embarrassed when that would
You mean
happen.
like during the part of the episode where they were like running or trying to get away, escaping,
Yeah.
and there would just be a band playing, and it would be like,
Yeah.
yeah, because
And-
you thought the music was terrible, and you were
I don't
Ashamed?
even know what it was, but I felt shame during
the
those moments.
shame. That's interesting. What are your feelings? Not on the song. Well, whatever you want to say, Rob. What are your feelings?
Not on the song. I just feel like I'm cringing when I listen to it. To
Right.
be honest, like I mean, it just doesn't. It's just all over the place, and it's such a mouthful that it's unintelligible. Like I was watching or I was reading the lyrics as we were listening to it, and I didn't realize it the first time I listened to it. All the pop culture stuff, I couldn't even understand it, but now I see it. And that, I mean, it's interesting, I guess, in that respect. But even the pop culture references don't even make any sense. Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken, watching X-Files with no lights on. I don't know. None of this makes sense to me. And the song is bad.
Let's get to the heart of this.
Okay.
I want to know why you think this is one of the worst songs ever.
So what's the band that like, smart, kind of nerdy kids, but smart in high school would listen to, and they're still around. They might be giants.
Dead Milkmen?
No, they might be giants.
They might
They
be
might
giants. Okay.
That's different, though.
Oh yeah, but I've got a point.
Different.
Like, they've always annoyed me, but with this, it's kind of similar in the kind of like I'm so clever and cute, cringingly clever. That's not all that clever.
I know what you're saying. Like, I think the comparison to They Might Be Giants is apt, but I want to, before we tear it apart, I would like to make the case for this song. Not that it's a great song or anything, but I'd like to offer some positive thoughts on the song. Would you guys be open to hearing those?
I mean, is it okay if we interrupt?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I feel like that we need to apply like the rabbinical dialectic to these songs and see it from every different angle and not just like come at it hot, but to try to make the case for them like a lawyer might. And what I would like to say about this particular song in the pro category is that these guys are trying, I believe they're making an effort. Like in reference to the song we did, the Phil Collins song, Something Happened on the Way to Heaven, they're not phoning it in. Like they're making an effort. They put a lot, this lyric, it's like it's a lot of story they're telling in a very short time. They're trying to do something.
Yeah, but remember what we said, what was worse was someone who thought they were kind of clever and really trying hard, and it's fucking terrible.
But I would say the distinction for me is that this is not serious, and I don't believe they think they're being serious. Like I think they're being light and goofy, and it's not their fault that they were embraced by pop culture and that the song was everywhere because it's an annoying song. And if you hear it constantly, it's only a matter of time before you start to hate it. So the fact that it was embraced by like top 40 and then it was ultimately co-opted by advertising. And like, I remember seeing it in a Mitsubishi ad.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cause you heard of the sign that I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me, saying, "Get that together, come back and see me."
It was cool, sexy, cosmopolitan people in a car, like on their way to start their night. They look good, they look cool, and they are just having a good time. It's been 1 week since you looked at me, and they're lip syncing to it. It's like one of those awful scenes in a movie where everyone's like holding a shampoo bottle as a microphone and they're like lip syncing to a song.
It's like what the cast from Friends listens to.
Yes, I think that's it.
I feel like it's more like a frat boy song.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. This
When
feels like that.
It was this awful, like you mentioned earlier, that Rob mentioned that it's an alternative rock, done, and Andrew, you kind of mentioned that too, and the explanation of it. And it's like I remember that time, like the mid 90s, or I guess even the early 90s, and just when like suddenly alternative music became like cool. Like, what does this label of alternative mean? And because, I grew up a punk rock kid or whatever, that was upsetting to me, whatever. But like that was the time of it where it's just like, oh, how worse could it get? And they're calling it by the name of the stuff I like or liked or whatever. And it's just like, ugh.
Yeah. This is like late 90s. This is like post grunge. So I feel like what this song...
It's like a top 40 station playing the song because they think it's alternative.
Totally. Yeah, they think it's irreverent. But I think it's the early 90s grunge was so angry. Like, can't we just have a little irreverent fun with the Barenaked Ladies? It's like that. I feel like that's what it is. I do think that the lyrics are playful and they do reflect some wit if you read them. They're making an effort. And I have to say, I don't think it's their fault that they were embraced.
See, I don't think the pop culture stuff is interesting to me because they're literally just throwing it all in. It's like they just like, what's popular? And so they just made a list of everything and just made it work.
And not just popular, but like popular yet slightly smart. I'm going to mention, Kurosawa and Samurais. I'm going to mention, like it's like this slightly elevated, like, hey, I'm being clever and smart and pointing out these pop culture references but not everyone's going to get it. Only the smart people are going to get all of them.
Right. So it's just word salad and it's not really.
Yeah. It's word salad. That's exactly what it is.
So one thing that I really hate about any song is when they repeat themselves constantly. Verses will be repeated because either the writer of the song was too lazy to like come up with something new or that they just didn't think it was about the lyrics. It's only about the song. This song, the entire thing is like, they don't really repeat themselves. The choruses, it's been 1 week, but every single chorus has like, it does continue to evolve the story throughout. Whatever the story, what is the story about? Like they're in a relationship, they're in some sort of fight, something.
And they can't apologize to one. Well,
Yeah.
And so this gets to a point that makes me even angrier. Like the song begins, and I don't like it. One, because I know what's about to happen.
Right.
Like I know what it is from the very beginning, and I've heard it before, and I don't want to hear it. But it comes on, and it's the guy singing, and it's not, and it's not bad lyrics in terms of like it's difficult. It's difficult in relationships when we make mistakes to stop and pause and say, hey, I'm sorry in the moment. It takes us a long. So it's not bad lyrics and it's a good message. And so if it was just the guy singing the song, it'd be like, okay, here's a song I don't like very much, but I can appreciate that he's got a good message that people need to hear. And I'm not a big fan of it, but whatever. But then it's like, yeah, this word salad, white rap, clever pop. Yeah, and it's just like, no, why are you doing this? And it's horrible.
I do think it's impressive, like just how he was able to rap that. I mean, it is kind of impressive to me that because he just says so many words so fast. I couldn't do that.
Have you tried?
Try it, Rob. Can you
I'm not-
try it?
I don't consider this to be rap, though. I don't even know. I know
It's
it says
like
in
a
the
hybrid.
genre. It's not. This
I'm
is
only making that comparison because there is rap in the song.
so, Brendan. This is what I think. Aside from this particular song, I think that you're reacting to the people and the culture that you identify with this kind of music. Is that fair enough?
It's all of it.
It's all of it. Like,
Yeah.
I would describe this as like fun party tailgate music. Like that's what this is. It's like it's light. It's not trying to do anything too heavy lifting. But I also think that this is just background music at a tailgate. It's like you don't want to feel anything too heavy. It's just fun. It's like fun party time music. And the appeal is that it's irreverent, I think is the idea. It's irreverent. That's what people are.
Sure.
And there are other bands that I would like to bring up that I think fit into this category. And I would like either you guys to, maybe you could react. But like, how is this different from, say, like B-52s? Like Love Shack and Rock Lobster. Like these songs are not about anything. Like they're not about
songs. Those songs, in my opinion, at least, are catchy and fun in a completely different way. This is not, to me, this is catchy. Okay, maybe. Is it fun?
quirky.
No, not to me.
It's not even quirky.
No,
It's someone trying to be quirky.
no. I don't think that's a very good comparison, to be honest.
Why not?
B-52s?
I agree.
Yeah. No, but
No, I agree with Rob. I agree with
prefer
Rob.
the B-52s easily. But but I'm drawing a comparison between like irreverent, fun, quirky music that's like not really saying much of anything. It's just like, what is it that makes the B-52s that elevates them or gives them more gravitas than the Barenaked Ladies?
I mean, I guess for me, it would just be that the songs are better. That they I don't know. I mean, I remember liking the B-52s somewhat, and I always thought their songs were kind of bouncy and fun and good and had good lyrics, This does not.
I think that like during the B-52s, particularly early B-52s, you might get chased and beat up for listening to the B-52s, where this song, you ought to get beat up for listening to it. But you're probably not, because people are like, okay, this is harmless and stupid. It feels like it wants to be transgressive. It's trying to be,
Right.
and it's just kind of lame. Where the B-52s were fucking transgressive. They were fucking.
So the common thread between them, B-52s and the Barenaked Ladies, is they're both quirky or trying to be quirky and trying to be fun and catchy with playful lyrics, but the Barenaked Ladies are just lame, and the B-52s are cool, and that's kind of it.
Well, but the B-52s were doing something that nobody else was doing. Like they came out of fucking nowhere and they were like doing weird shit, where these guys are like in the moment, like in the moment of this, like alternative, and like, oh, we're quirky, and like it's not, and it was a #1 hit. I mean, I guess B-52s had #1 hits, but it was after they had fucking worked and
they had paid their dues. What is it about Fred Schneider that keeps him from being awful?
I mean, he's annoying. He is annoying. Like I like later B-52 stuff. I was not like a huge fan of or anything, but I had respect for him.
I don't know. B-52s just had a style to them that was interesting too,
Well,
kind of this old school style that they had, from like, it's like a weird, like they look like 40s characters, but we're singing modern pop. I don't know. It's cool.
do you think, is there a world where they weren't called the Barenaked Ladies, they had a cooler name, and they weren't embraced by
No,
these people where you could forgive them or respect them? Like if they had a different name and they were like under the radar a little bit, like they were just a college band, like played in the college radio station.
you Canadian guys, y'all been doing the circuit for a while, and you've got this song. I'm not a huge fan, but I can respect y'all. But then the fucking rapper guy, and he looks smarmy.
All right, so here are a couple other bands. I'm gonna throw some other names at you, and you tell me if they're more B-52s or they're more Barenaked Ladies. Are you ready?
Yeah, go.
Smash Mouth.
What they
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid.
We're talking about fun time party music, right? Which B-52s and Barenaked Ladies both fit into that category, but B-52s is a good version, whereas Barenaked Ladies is a bad version. So I'm going to throw some other bands at you, and you're going to tell me, do they go with B-52s, or do they go with Barenaked Ladies? So
Smash Mouth goes with Barenaked Ladies.
Barenaked Ladies.
Okay, are you ready for the next one? Sugar Ray.
What is Sugar Ray saying?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Man, you guys, come on.
All around the world, statues crumble for me. Who knows how long I've loved you? In my tin, everyone I know's been so good to me. You hear that? 25 years old, my mother, God rest her soul. I just wanna fly like a bird and I just sky up so high. Put your arms around me, baby. Put your arms around me, baby. All right,
They aren't as bad as
Oh my God, they're as
Smash
bad.
Mouth.
You understand what I'm saying, though, is that I'm equating like a genre of quirky, irreverent music that's not really trying to do anything too lofty. It's just quirky.
I mean, Sugar Ray quirky and irreverent.
Totally, yeah.
How are they quirky? Like what?
Do you know their music? Have you listened to this? I maybe you're just not familiar with their.
I've heard the song, but
I mean, I know vaguely, but they're not quirky in the same way.
Okay, what about the Beach Boys?
Oh, I mean, they're much B-52s. Like, what?
Really?
yeah. I mean, I would agree with that. B-52.
I mean, they were masterful and fucking weird and disturbing and pop and like in not in the exact same way as B-52s, but in this like genuinely strange, disturbed, weird, but
Like, do you think that if you only heard the song Surfin' USA that you would be saying all of this?
If everybody had an ocean across the USA, then everybody'd be surfing like California. You'd see them wearing their baggies, Warachi sandals too, a bushy blonde hair, surfing USA.
no, like I would say like okay, that's kind of lame.
So maybe you need to listen to Barenaked Ladies' full album. You know, maybe you're just prejudging them. Don't you think that's a possibility?
Sure, yes.
B-52s, this describes their music pretty well. It was outsider stuff with the distinctive sound that was consciously slightly retro, coming from surf music and rockabilly.
Yeah, I think that's true. That's like really, I think, sums it up pretty well.
Yeah.
Which makes them a lot more interesting, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's the fact that their music, maybe because the
Consciously slightly retro, right? Like that's a key word there too.
Right. Right.
You know?
Right. Very rockabilly, very rock, very surf guitar. Yeah.
Well, and what like that's the kind of subversiveness of the B-52s. Like there's something they love in the same way that John Waters loves kind of the decades before him that would totally fucking shun him. And like it's this kind of subversive, like they love this and revel in it, where it's kind of like,
but they're also twisting it and using it. But that's interesting. The minute you said John Waters, I immediately felt like I could see B-52s and him like hanging out. Totally. What about Jimmy Buffett?
I'm not a Jimmy Buffett fan. I really do not like Jimmy Buffett, but I'm not sure I would throw Jimmy Buffett to the Barenaked Ladies.
No, I would not either.
You wouldn't? Margaritaville?
Wasting away again in Margaritaville.
Well, that's a pretty good song.
Yeah, those are just like classic, like
Wait a minute. Cheeseburger in Paradise?
Cheeseburger in paradise, heaven
come on.
Cheeseburger in Paradise is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
That is a fucking terrible song. Jimmy Buffett overall, like, no, yeah, like Rob said, I'm not a fan, but like, it's like, I have learned to respect what Jimmy Buffett does.
Why? How so?
Like, you can't passively listen to the Barenaked Ladies. Like, it is fucking in there, and it's like you can't help but hearing
Right.
it. Like,
It's like, pay
Yeah.
attention to me over here. Hey,
yeah,
listen to me.
hey, look at me. Yeah, it's like, hey, look at us.
Do you guys know this? I would say,
You said you were going to comment on the Canadianness of it.
oh, yeah, I don't, that's tough because what I want to say is like the Canadians get so much shit for just being, I don't know, how would you describe it? Like, is it just like a naivete or something? Like
Politeness.
goodiness, a goodiness.
Yeah.
So, and like, meanwhile, we all hate ourselves in the United States because we're just, basically everything you need to know about America, you can learn watching Spring Breakers, which we can talk about. Which I just watched, but we'll talk about that later. I mean, just like the awful cynicism and the arrogance of America is not Canadian. Canadians are nice, they're sweet, they're goody-goody, and they get a bad rap for it, for being that way. The Barenaked Ladies have that for sure. Like, they're like, take me or leave me. We're just trying to make something fun and catchy and goofy, and that's who we are. And it's not our fault that we went to number one in the US and that we annoyed all the snarky, American, judgy people that are so into the B-52s or whatever, or into transgressive arts. It's not our fault that we were played kind of like endlessly on Top 40. So I guess I'll make the final case that this track is annoying, but they don't deserve the vitriol because it's not their fault. They're just like,
well, but are you what is that awful phrase that's used? The bigotry of low expectations. I think you're doing that here, not with the Barenaked Ladies, but with all Canadians. That
no.
You are saying, okay, these guys are the fucking worst, but they're Canadian.
I'm saying hate the culture that brought these guys to the very top, to the pinnacle. Don't hate the guys because they're just making mediocre whatever music. You're disgusted by the status quo that elevated them to some like place.
Sure. But I get what you're saying, and there's some truth to that, but there's also truth to like, fuck these guys. Like,
Okay, fair enough. I think that's fine. All right, so I think we need to go around and say, does this fit into the worst songs ever category?
Yeah. Worst song ever.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it is in that category. Absolutely.
I would say this is worst song ever. Yes. But I would also want to give, what is his name? Ed Robertson and Stephen Page. I would want to give them flowers and say, guys, look, you do you. Don't worry about all the haters because there are plenty of people that like you. It's just, I'm not one of them. And it's not your fault that like my culture, elevated you just to tear you down because I think you guys are nice and just keep going, keep doing your thing. I'm not giving them a pass because they're Canadian. I was saying that you're misdirecting your anger towards the Barenaked Ladies. Your anger is really more directed at the status quo.
I've got my anger's like in all directions.
You're just like a hate bomb.
Why did this happen?
That's it. I hope you liked that that deep dive into 1 week by the Barenaked Ladies. And next week, I guess we'll return for Rob's pick.
She came